series. The strongholds on Empire. Same rotation as before, but it could be a different story. Last time we saw Supremacy, one team taking a very, very valiant lead, and all of a sudden one team just came back, smashed it into a million pieces, and says, not today, my friends.
Yeah.
This map is ours.
The cool thing we're going to see about seeing the same game types across the series is that we're going to see how the teams play differently. You know, how teams across Europe like to play the same game types, just see how they play them differently. It looks like early on it's going to be Riot's to grab the camouflage. Not too sure if anyone's grabbed the overshield just yet. It's actually going to be Chick for Divine Domination. Are we calling them 2D or are we just calling them
Is it
Divine?
2D? Because it just has a 2 in there, doesn't
Yeah,
it? In the logo.
the logo's 2D.
I'm going to go 2D.
Let's do it. That's cool.
We'll confirm afterwards with Talik if it's actually supposed to be 2D, but I think that'd be pretty cool. So 2D, Talik's there, doesn't have any clue. The camera guy's literally behind him, who's just bobbing, weaving, ducking, diving. That's going to be Riot. Riot's then. Harry, let's have a quick chat about this player. Multi-time champion across multiple Halo titles, to be honest. Still been looking to really get his foot in when it comes to Halo 5. Fair enough, he did make the Halo World Championship 2016 on that Excel roster. So he's always been kind of at the top, but certainly not for what we used to see him back when he was on TCM or, Dignitas, for instance.
Yeah, those are kind of some old school lineups that Riot's has been on where he really found success and dominated within the European scene. Another kind of lineup that reminds me of Riot's, and I associate Riot's with success, is that Apex roster back towards the end of Reach. And he has been a player who's been at the top of kind of Halo for quite some time. TCM probably one of the most famous lineups he was on, but he's played throughout Halo 5. Obviously not a massive fan of online gameplay. He's still kind of stuck in there, and with the new settings, I wouldn't be surprised to see a much more improved Riot's, but he's kind of lucked out, honestly, with this roster. I mean, when you're kind of finding yourself without a team and you kind of have a buddy in you kind of have a buddy in Lunny, that's hard to say, by the way, and you see two free agents in Moze and Respectful, two of the best players in Europe, and you manage to team with them. That's honestly a great way forwards for you to get yourselves back towards the top of the European scene. So definitely an opportunity for Riot to make a name for himself once again.
The one ironic thing about the two rosters that have made it in, obviously, you've got Lunny and Riots who made it in by joining Moze and Respectful afterwards, but they were sat down. They were on the original roster of HUM, which would have been the XL roster in Open Circuit. They got picked up out of Open Circuit, bang, injected back into the Pro League.
Yeah, and that's cool to see, right? Overshield and Camouflage just came up. I believe it was actually the lads who grabbed both of those, despite Divine Domination grabbing the first Overshield. So the timing, knowing the timing for Divine Domination, or 2D as we'll probably...
Kill me.
Yeah, I know, right? What's with these long names?
I don't know.
Oxygen Supremacy, Divine Domination, what's next? Ben's Coffee, lads? I mean, I can't. Total control here for the lads. Despite Divine Domination getting the first Overshield, the timing just wasn't enough for them, and it was the lads who just secured turbine control. They grabbed the pit as well as the Overshield, and now look, total control. They can just slay waves of Divine Domination players, and the French squad right now certainly coming under a lot of pressure here from the lads.
And that's exactly what we're going to see. Respectful just hovering around this tower side, make sure nobody can come up and across and make their way across to red. He's going to advance down onto blue. It's a quarter of the way there. Most can pick it up because, honestly, there's no one there to touch it. They've all spawned across at red. But the second they get out of spawn, Harry, they're already getting drilled by Lunny. He's just camping around, waiting for them. He does get back smacked, unfortunately. Did try to get away from it. Talik will try and push Respectful back. But unfortunately, that DMR and that aim of that man is just too strong. Yeah,
this is going to be a real telling season for Respectful, in my opinion. Respectful and Moze, like we said, on the Fabi roster, definitely the two best players in Europe. The duo on Fabi, they really were just two of the strongest players in the European scene. Now they find themselves arguably without the best backing lineup, right? They don't have the best players behind them. We see total control here from Divine Domination for just a moment, but the pit is going to be retaken there by the lads. Wow. Let's see what Respectful and Moze can do when they don't have top-tier players behind them. And this is no disrespect at all to Lunny and Riots, but you'd have to say Moze and Respectful, certainly this isn't one of the strongest lineups they've been on in a while.
I agree with you there, because you kind of essentially you're putting Riots and Lunny up against, who we kind of saw before in the likes of 2Foxy. Flux, for instance, who they were, Jimbo. I agree, and I think that's more than fair to say. They're not up to that caliber of Lunny and Riot's, but still, two damn good players regardless.
Well, I mean, I think it's fair to say they haven't shown that they're up to the caliber. Whether or not Respectful and Moz can kind of unlock the potential of Riot's and Lunny, maybe that could be the case, but they certainly haven't shown in the past that they are kind of up to that level of play.
Well, I'm sure we'll find out. At the moment, they do have a very, very good lead on 2D. One player will drop down. That's going to be Talik. Doesn't manage to get away with his life. Riot jumps up. Will he get this kill? Tries to go in with the bolt shot. Unfortunately, doesn't quite happen. Grenade goes down, but that's huge. Can only get the double off of the back of it. No, he cannot, but he's going to be weak. Unfortunately, he will fall. Chick comes off the spawn, round the corner. Grenade goes down. Moz just been an anchor point here on Fan. But look at where Riot's is. You've just got Moz on one side, Riot's on the other. It's kind of a bottleneck here, Harry.
Yeah, I really like how Moz is playing this, actually. I mean, you can see him, again, working in tandem there with Respectful, but the way he was just playing patient on Blue Fan, with Respectful pushing him from platform right there, you can see in the kill feed, it's just really working out here for the lads. If Respectful funnels all of those 2D players out towards the Fan and they try and push the Turbine, Moz is there to pick up any weak players. None of the players from the French squad pushed out, so Moz was able to flank in, and look at how much it's actually working out here for the lads. I mean, total control, it's now 95-29. This really should be game.
Yeah, I think that's going to be GG. No remap number one unless a miracle comes out of 2D. That time is just going to tick slowly away. Respectful picks up a double. Seeger comes in, finishes one off. A little bit unlucky there, but we will see. Unfortunately, 2D, they fall. Game number one, 100 points to 29. So fantastic stuff. A good way for this team over on the lads to really kick it off. We did say it's kind of it's not a new roster as such, but certainly not been together as long as some of the other ones, because obviously we did have a Fabi roster locked in. We then saw Flux and 2Foxy leave. You know, generally we wish the best of luck to those two players, but that left this roster in a little bit of a pickle. They had to pick up two players, and they could not touch any Pro League players. They had to look to the open circuit. They then had Riots, and they now have Lunny. Respectful, do we even need to say anything?
I saw him tweet out during this series, well, just before this series actually, is it time to go 3 times in a row the best Pro League stats throughout the regular season?
20-5.
He started off pretty well. I mean, 20-5 in the first game of the season. That's one way to really say, hey, I'm coming for that #1 spot.
That's incredible. Apologies for not getting the stats there on screen a little bit longer, but you know, I think we pretty much saw that the stat that mattered. 20-5 is huge coming out of your team captain like that. I mean, on a map like Empire, to keep the deaths so low, and especially on strongholds when it's nothing but movement, that's a big feat.
You want to know something interesting about this next game type?
Go on then, brother.
Truth Slayer. These two teams between them have played this game 7 times in scrims. They've lost all 7.
Oh.
D2 are, or 2D are 0-4. The lads are 0-3.
Okay.
So one of these teams is going to get their first Truth Slayer win right here.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance.
So you're saying there is a chance? Truth Team Slayer will be game number 2 on your screen. These players are not messing around. They're giving us no time. They want to get stuck in and get cracked on. Ladies and gentlemen, please tweet the stream. Use the hashtag HCS. Give us your tweets also at ESL Halo. We're on Facebook also. We'll take messages on there. We'll try and post them up. Well, again,
hi, Mum.
ESL. You just prep me off there. Sorry.
You said we're on Facebook. My mum's on Facebook.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
What's she called? Can I add her?
No.
Oh, never mind then.
Don't go at my mum.
No, I'm married. It's getting weird. Slayer on Truth will be map number 2 of game number 2 tonight. The first team to get 50 kills, or the team to have the highest kills when the time ticks down, will be your victor. We've got no sword, we've got no automatics, we've also got an addition of a new radar. If you've been sleeping under a rock, we do have some big changes to these maps, to the game types overall. And of course, last night we got the heavy aim patch. One thing I want to kind of ask, and we didn't see it in the previous game, Harry, we do have that tac magnet, and I didn't see a single player pick it up in the previous map.
No, I'll be looking out for that on the observer mode, see if any players actually pick that one up.
That'd be sick.
Almost takes down Respectful right there. Yeah, not a lot of tactical Magnum plays so far. I mean, this broadcast. I personally absolutely love that one.
It's amazing.
It's so good. You have a more of a scope than you do with the regular Magnum. You also don't have the Magnum in your peripheral, so it makes long-range shooting just a little bit easier. And some players, honestly, are much more comfortable with a tactical Magnum. I personally am one of those players. So let's see if that's actually picked up in
I'm kind of one of those guys. It sounds weird, even if I know it is a different gun as such, but I really feel like I'm using the old BR. You know, it's just an empty peripheral window. You've just got that one scope in the middle.
Yep.
And you can just tag people up. And the one thing that I really do a lot with it, and I've seen a lot of other players, like Royal 2, for instance, is the assist.
Yeah.
Just literally marking people and tagging them across the map, pinging them off. And the amount of times you'll see a player like Royal 2, for instance, like we saw back at UMG Daytona, he'll put it in his back pocket, he'll use his main Magnum to shoot and get the easy kills, but then whip that one out, save the ammo, and use it for the long-range engagements.
You know what my favourite part of the tactical Magnum is?
Go on.
The noise.
Yes, so good. The silence, which doesn't appear on the radar also.
No, it certainly doesn't. For those wondering the scope differences, the regular Magnum scope is 1.5 times. The tactical Magnum is actually a whole 2 times. So you do actually get more of a range on that tactical Magnum. So worth bearing in mind going forwards. 20 seconds around until the next camouflage comes up. So look for both teams to fight around the pink tower, kind of just maintain some pink 2 control. We saw Respectful right there, actually making sure his team have pink tower locked down. You can see him up there on P3, and now Lunny's just going to fortify pink tower here by contesting pink 2. The next camouflage, in my opinion, definitely needs to go into 2D's favor if they want to get back in this game. They're down by 6 right now, and honestly, if they get trapped away from this camouflage, which it looks like they're going to be, they honestly could have a real tough time going forwards trying to get themselves back into this game. But anything can happen in Halo. As a ground pound comes in from Talik. Lovely stuff.
French ground pound indeed. 13 to 17. 5-kill deficit here for 2D. Lunny trapped up in Eli. Talik with some great shots. Seeker comes in. Easy cleanup for him. Nurix also. You see the golden medal. That's 2 side-by-side assists coming out of Talik now, tagging him up as he will lock down P2. Look straight across at Carbine. Easy kill. The amount of assists he's getting from here, just really standing his ground, Harry, and just being, you know, a bit of a presence on the map is fantastic.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see 2D actually take the lead right here, because you can see the 2 lads players right there. They don't have a base. They're trapped outside. They're trapped in the bubble. Most surely will go down to that grenade. No, just
He's
about
going to be so weak.
And there we go. He was for sure 1 bullet. And once again, it's the lads finding themselves outside of a base. They find themselves without a base, and they need to fight their way back in. Fair enough, Respectful is in the basement, but he won't have height advantage. He needs to get out of here. You can see him there trying to move around to the Eli. Now he has the height advantage. This could actually work out in the lads' favor. I
respected that challenge there from Talik. He was no shields, but I tell you what, he did get some cracking shots off. Does go for a second ground pound. Unfortunately, one player is there in the form of Lunny, takes him down, but they've now got the lead. They were down by 7, took it to 5, and now they're up by 3, Harry. This is night and day here for Divine.
Yeah, and this all started from the camouflage coming up. Divine actually won some great team fights around the pink tower area, and then as a result of that, the lads actually spawned at Carbine, and because they didn't have a base, they were just slayed by the 2D boys. So this is actually very well played here from the French squad, and if they grab the next camouflage, which is coming up in around the next 10 to 15 seconds, I'd imagine, they could be in a real good position to grab this game away from the lads and even up this series.
1, 2, 3 members of Divine Domination. I am going to get used to that name. They all hit the floor. They're going to be coming off the respawn. 1 kill lead here. Talik trying to make it 2, which he does. Half shield also. Wow. Cracking work from him. No shield. Picks up a double. Going to spin round. Knows the player challenging. That's going to be Mose also inside the base. Unfortunately, will put a bullet in the back of his teammate. That's going to leave them both no shields. Looking for someone to clean up. As 2 easy kills, Mose will come in. Nice double for him. We're all tied up back once again at 28 apiece. Another grenade, and unfortunately, Seeker, we mentioned earlier, Harry, about this kind of being the death cave. He is on the opposite end of the grenades. He will drop, and now Respectful, he's going to push up. He knows where they're going to be spawning in the back of that blue base. And here comes the pressure. Yeah, this is a more positive position for the lads to be in. We saw Lunny go down at pink 1. Fair enough, he died without putting any damage down, but he actually grabbed the camouflage before he went down. So that means the lads are going to know the timing on the next one. We see now, actually, the lads with both towers control. You can see Respectful playing the radar so well, being so sneaky. That juke, like you say, the flank coming in and the shots to back it up as well. Perfect play from him. And now you can see on the player outlines, Lunny and Riot's flanking around the Carbine side of the base. This is perfect Truth Slayer gameplay.
Respectful now is allowed to just flank front base, and there we go. Lenny will take down Sika, and that will actually... Oh, 3 kills there from 2D, actually. Will tie up the game. That's, well, near enough tie up the game, but Mose looks to restore the 2-kill lead.
I mean, that was pretty huge. All 3 of them went down near enough the exact same time, just boxed inside one base, and that kind of speaks volumes about, you know, we do know that both these teams know how to play this map. Fair enough, they're both looking for a win. You mentioned it in scrims, but 2D at the moment, Harry, they're looking strong. They're putting up a very, very good fight. Take the lead once again at 6 minutes remaining. Mose doesn't get the back whack, unfortunately. He does go down, so that's going to be a trade. Excuse me, that's actually going to be... It was indeed Mose, my bad.
Yeah, those are the kind of plays you see Mose there, just kind of overextending for that player front base. He really should have just had faith in his team that he could have cleaned that player up. So remember, Lunny grabbed the camouflage last time around. That means the red team, the lads, are going to know the exact timing on it, but it looks like 2D actually have the better map control for now. But 2 kills coming in from the lads means they're going to be fighting over this pink tower. Looks like Riots is bang on the position. He's going to know the timing of that camouflage coming up, and there you go, slams it in his chest. So just a few kind of confidence issues at the moment from the lads. We saw, like I said, Mose just not passing that player off that was front base. He had to overextend, and in the end it cost him his life. Depending on how Riots plays this camouflage, this really could be the chance for the lads to steal away this game too.
I mean, I kind of want to ask you, Harry, I'll get your opinion, but it feels to me like it's scrappy. It's 1 kill, 1 death, 1 kill, 1 death, or at least that's kind of what it feels like, trading off back and forth, and I just feel like no one's set up properly, got some kills on the board, and really racked up a lead apart from the start, and everything from there on just been a little bit scrappy.
I would honestly tend to agree with that. Considering the last series, we saw Supremacy versus Invictus, 2 very well-drilled squads. Right now, we're seeing the lads who, like we said, is a bit of a kind of slapped together roster, excuse me, and 2D, who are majority, well, in fact, all of these players coming from the open circuits. So yeah, I tend to agree with that. That's kind of just the difference of the levels of play here in the European Pro League. From the top, arguably the top 2 in Supremacy and Invictus, going down to these 2 teams as well.
Here comes the collapse then. 2 players up in P2. There's one, there's a second one, but they do answer it back. 1 more kill, they'll steal the deal here. Respectful finds it in the form of Talik. Bottom mid, down he goes. And all of a sudden, the lads, they will take game number 2, 50-43.
They'll be cracking open a cold one.
You're going to be going at this for the entire season,
Cracking open a cold one.
Get as many of those off during this cast as possible, because after this is
done...
done...
Can you do a good can noise?
Can I?
That's pretty good, actually.
Like that.
Yeah, no, that was good.
I don't drink that, at least.
Good.
Anyway, stats.
Stats.
Let's take a look at them before they go off screen this time round.
Mose, 15 and 11. 14 and 11 from Lunny just behind him as well. I actually kind of want to see the damage dealt stat. Obviously, we're looking at Nurix right here, a -5 spread. Just 9 and 14 from him and 9 and 13 from Sika. Truth Slayer, in my opinion, is mostly about how many shots you're putting down and the amount of damage. So despite the bad spread from Nurix, he was actually helping his team out a lot by putting down that damage. Just a shame most of those kills maybe just weren't cleaned up from the 2D squad. Most damage in the game actually goes to Lunny, who did not have the most kills in his team. So there we go. The stats, just like that, they're gone. The teams want to get into the next game. But again, just goes to show, now that that damage dealt stat is fixed, really kind of shows a story and tells the tale of the game, especially now that the automatics and the assault rifles and such are taken out of the game. It really just goes to show the players who have the most game sense, the angles they're taking, as well as the players who are most likely to help out their team just by putting damage down.
So you'll see now as ticker on the bottom has appeared, so at least you guys can get some of the previous scores while we carry on talking and this next matchup gets underway. It's going to be a Coliseum CTF. Harry, sniper rifle on the map. We kind of saw before a 3-0 coming out of, let me get the name right, Invictus.
Yes.
Previous game a little bit scrappy between these 2 rosters, but we did see the entire previous series. It was pretty much neck and neck. Can we expect to see the same level, do you think?
In scrims, 2D are 0 and 3. In scrims, the lads are 3 and 0.
Well,
so if you're a betting man and you like listening to scrim results, I know a lot of people don't really take them into account, and that's fair enough.
They do mean something, though, at least. I think you can take...
A lot of the time, I mean, it's worth putting an asterisk next to those 2 games, next to those kind of 2 stat lines, because these 2 teams haven't actually played against each other in scrims. So we don't really know how these 2 teams kind of match up against each other. Like we said at the start of the series, this really is the first taste of each other for both of these 2 teams. But two players on the 2D side I'm looking forward to using the sniper. Obviously, Talik is renowned for it, but also Nurix. He was hitting some really nice shots in the Pro League qualifiers, so watch out for him going forwards as well with that sniper rifle. But the rockets, the sniper, it's power weapons galore here on Capture the Flag and Coliseum. If you get the power weapons and you get kills with them, 99% of the time, if you're playing this game type the right way, you're going to get yourself at least a flag capture on the board.
A big shout out to Bantam as well over at Halo Data High, because honestly,
100%.
that man just does God's work. If you want to know stats and statistics, honestly, on anything, the pro teams, just everything Halo, like, that website is such a God's gift to looking at, you know, further breakdown and some, you know, what these teams are doing against one another.
Yeah, I genuinely can't thank Bad Dub enough, and Halo Data Hive, in my opinion, is one of the best websites to see if you're interested in analytics, as Talik here is just going off with the snipe, taking headshots. If you're interested in statistics, who's doing the best, who has the best KD, who's doing the most damage, it's definitely one of the best websites if you're interested in Pro League stats. He does the stats for both the American and the European Pro League, so definitely worth a check out, in my opinion.
The one thing that I like about that website is when you look at specific things, like when you look at flag settings, there'll be, you know, most returns, most captured, so on and so forth. You generally start to see certain teams. I remember looking at one before when I think it was strongholds, like most defenses, most captures, most time, and everything lands on Splice. Everything lands on one team, and it's you can kind of see, well, this team is obviously extremely strong or extremely that was disgusting. Brandon just lost his stones.
Yeah. You've been saving that one for a while.
I haven't actually. That was completely off the tongue. I'm quite proud of it.
That was very good. I'm very surprised.
That was impressive. But yeah, you can really take something from it. Fair enough, as you mentioned, Harry, you can only read so much into it. Talik hits another one. Can he at least stop that flag? I don't believe he can. That looks like it's potentially going to be on the run. Nice play from Brandon, unless that was actually coming off the spawn.
No, he ran that the entire way throughout the top rockets.
And there you have it then. 1-0 to the lads. But yeah, from Halo Data Hive, you can generally get a good feeling of who's good and who's strong and things like that. So big shout out to Bad Dove. Back to this game though, respectful. Playing the missile game, rockets in the back pocket, will move forward. Nurix goes off the map, he just saw down there in the kill feed. 1-0 currently to the lads. We're less than 3 minutes into this matchup. If you are just joining us, welcome along to the European HCS Pro League Summer Season 2017. This is day number 1. We have 3 series tonight. We are in our second series of the evening. The lads versus Divine Domination or 2D. 1, 2, 3 members of the lads. They're all dead. Riot's left, last man standing, Harry.
Yeah, Riot's last alive, but respectful. That's uncharacteristic, and in my opinion, that's going to frustrate him. He's just been taken down on the spawn there as well by Sika. Those 2 rockets I mean, those really should be kills, in my opinion, from respectful right there. So, yeah, definitely a misplay. Could even honestly cost his team a capture right here. Will take down the flag carrier, though. And in my opinion, if 2D just don't watch their P's and Q's, they could honestly give up a counter right here, but Nurix is going to put the flag in. The worrying thing for them, though, is look at the Slays coming in. They're now on stilted respawns. Mose has himself a sniper, and they're running a flag as well, are the lads. So, yeah, this could really be, and should really be, a counter cap here from the lads.
Easy kill for Mose, though. Comes around the corner, finds one, no shield, will drop down. Hard scopes in, tags up one, but he does unfortunately fall. Would you prefer him to have moved into a better position then, Harry, or did he do the right thing to try and stop the flag return?
It's tough to say. Obviously, when you have the sniper, bridge, probably not one of the best places to hold it. You want to be kind of in that Royal 2 cave area where you can see both into the basement and players coming off the respawn. Clearly, either got caught out in a weird position, maybe didn't expect some of the players to be pushing where they did at the time, or maybe just got a bad call from his team. But either way, it doesn't really matter. Lunny's going to put this second flag in, and the counter cap, a little bit slow from the lads, but they make it happen in the end.
I'll tell you what though, respectful committing suicide and at least pushing down bottom mid into those 2 players. Fair enough, he did get one, but he stopped them from advancing. The death was worth it. Charge into them, stop them moving up through grass and back through the maze. Lunny, nice anchor, just holding back for a second. Will whip out his Magnum. A few times you see a few people going for that YOLO rocket, and I like the fact that he's been patient and at least saving it, because there's 4 bullets in that chamber. That should always convert to 4 easy kills. There's one. Can he find a second? No, he cannot. He will come back for the challenge, and he gets a trade-off. I mean, fair play to Talik.
Yeah, fair play to Talik, but guess what? Best player in Europe's got himself a sniper, and turns out he's actually pretty good with this weapon. Yeah, I mean, he might not be the best with the rockets, but put a sniper in this man's hands, and well, you can always guarantee he's going to hit at least some shots with it. We'll tag that player right there, but The flag was on the move from Mose. He's dead, as is Riot's, who is rallying the flag as well. But Respectful is going to be able to get this easy return right here, and he's going to look to... Oh, wow, he's got rockets as well. Okay.
What?
All right, fair enough. Just give this man the power weapons. I mean, yeah, fair enough. He didn't make the 2 count earlier, but
there you have it.
He gets Talik, and the last flag's put in from the lads as well.
That was a lot faster than what I expected.
Swift.
That was incredible. Well, there you have it then. The lads really proving why they're amazing and why there's still 2 of Europe's top players on that roster, and potentially they could be I mean, I tell you what, if these guys get up to that level that they used to be, and you kind of said, really breed out what they believe is inside Riots and Lunny, can they bring out the best of them? Certainly playing with these 2. They're playing with the guys who know how to play this game at peak performance. 12-6. Brandon Stones.
How's he do it? He really is just going for the top statistics in Pro Leagues. So, don't know if there's a European Fantasy Pro League going on this year, but
Pick him up,
so,
boys.
make sure you have him in your team, because this man is playing for all the stats. 12-6 from him, like you said. Not really a whole lot to shout about across the board, honestly. I mean, obviously we have the 6-9, the 9-11, 8-13. Not great stats from the 2D side. Talik, the only one going positive there, but we'll take a look at the damage dealt. Talik, despite those, despite being the only one going positive, he's also putting the most damage down for his team and in the game as well. So you have to wonder how 2D aren't able to get more kills with Talik putting that damage down, whether it's a case of Talik just being an individual beast and winning every single one of his fights, or tagging players with snipers who aren't just being cleaned up by his teammates. You know, there's a lot of what ifs. I mean, we didn't see too much of Talik's point of view that game, so an interesting stat line. Most damage in the game, but certainly nowhere near the most kills. Oh, excuse me, he was actually quite near the most kills. So, you know, Talik's certainly up there. This
really is, though, trial by fire. We said this before. You're going up against 2 back-to-back Pro League champions. You know? These guys don't mess around, and honestly, Lunny and Riots, they're living up to it at the moment. They're doing exactly what needs to be done. It will be very interesting to see these guys play against Invictus.
It would.
That is going to be a match of the month, to be honest.
Series. That's going to be a fun series, definitely.
I think that'll be the difference between 1 and 2.
Do you remember the stat line before that game? The lads were 3-0 in scrims, and 2D were 0-3 in scrims.
Yes.
We kind of just saw why. I mean, the lads just so much more organized on that game type, and speaking of organization, Eden Strongholds coming up next. That's again another game type like we saw in the last series where you have to make concise decisions.
I'm going to put you on something you said here though, Harry. You mentioned the lads obviously now 4-0 when it comes to matches on that map, but you mentioned before neither team had won a game in Team Slayer Truth. That was a super scrappy game, so we can read into these a little bit much at the moment. It's proving to be right, but again, it all depends how much you read into those online statistics. This could potentially be the last game of this series. Make sure you tweet the stream, use the hashtag HCS. We got strongholds on Eden. Harry, who do you want to kick things off with, brother?
I want to kick things off on the French side. We'll start it with Talik. He had the most damage in the last game. Like we said in the last series, Red Team definitely favoured to grab the Overshield off of the start on the Eden Strongholds, and as a result, it's going to be Mose to grab that one and pretty much grab the rockets for free as well. So on Eden Strongholds, if you're the blue team, you absolutely have to make a play. You have to throw the right nades and be very drilled at the start in order to grab that Overshield and steal it away from the red team. Otherwise, it's pretty much guaranteed for the red side.
I like the fact that he's tagging up that player though. Talik's just trying to keep alive. It's very much doubtable. Stay alive much longer, and there you have it. Lunny comes in to seal the deal with the kill. Rights will fall on Catwalk, but he's going to have Respectful jumping over, gives him the back whack. See you later, my friend. And now, you see, that's what makes me laugh, is that Respectful's just got that kill, but Chick's too busy looking at Mose. They should really be focusing on Respectful, get him out of there, because that's their only plot. Fair enough, they're going to, ooh, that's a big kill. Yeah. Getting rid of Mose and eliminating like that, and those rockets, I don't even think he shot one, did he?
I think no, he actually hasn't. So 4 rockets now. Yeah, big kill right there. That's a key kill. And now it's going to be the lads who are trapped in tower. If Talik can make some kills happen with these rockets, which he has so far, if he takes down Respectful, which he does, this is going to be a real swing point in the game. The lads, despite grabbing Overshield and rockets off the start, only got 14 points to their lead. So Talik, no kills out of those last 2 rockets, though. We lambasted Respectful in the last game for missing those 2. I think it's only fair we do the same. Talik, you suck, man. Come on, what are those?
That was a bit bit rough, but at least you...
I love you really, Shan.
I know, everyone loves Shan. He's got a beautiful name. But no, you're right. At the end of the day, you can't be firing 2 YOLO rockets like that, especially when you've just picked up such an amazing double kill, and then to turn it into something like that. But that also speaks volumes for the side of the lads. They knew where he was. The aggression of, I believe it was Runny just charging at him, kind of made him a little bit scared and a little bit worried what to do with it. He just fired it and just thought, oh, well, what do we do here? So on the other side, fair enough, it was a bad rocket, Harry, but credit where credit's due for the aggression of the lads players.
Yeah, this is a bit of a misplay here, in my opinion, from 2D. Actually, a good play from the lads, forcing 2D actually away from that overshield, despite Mo's actually getting taken down there when he grabbed the overshield. The lads did a really good job of making sure they had turbine control when the rockets were coming up and making sure 2D was so far away. All of 2D were trapped in blue. Luckily, though, the play was made from the 2D side, and they now actually have the rockets in the hands of Sika. So I actually want to swap over to his point of view and see if he can put these into action. And despite the plays being made from the 2D side, they are still down and they do not have control.
So, wandering round, there's one. Plenty of bullets in the chamber. Going to go for this second kill. Needs to make sure it lands, though, because he's still got 2 in the chamber. However, Harry, all this is going down, and fair enough, it's all fun and games getting a couple of kills, but look at the score. They've got a triple cap. It's rocking, it's rolling. That time is ticking. They've got to get plots, and they've got to get them now. Does have a teammate there to at least tag it up, and now he can camp back, which is exactly what he's going to do. He's going to sit on this outskirt. Don't know where this player is. One jumps up, will tag him up. He's got a player to his left and a player to his right. At the moment, just a thorn between 2 roses. Unfortunately, can't find these players, and I actually like what the lads are doing. They're just tagging him up and really keeping him at arm's length. Yeah, they were, and it was a real shame, honestly, that he dropped down. He was very lucky to escape with his life, because if he reads the play right there and he understands that players are below him and he has the height advantage with these rockets, those are almost guaranteed kills with those with the height advantage as well. Good double though from Sika, and at a very key point in the game as well, because now as long as they trap the lads coming off the respawn here, and it looks like Sika has an idea that they've spawned on blue platform, keep them away from the turbine right here. You've just heard the announcer say rocket launcher in 10 seconds, but oh, it looks like a red bend spawn actually there from the lads. Must have been a red spawn, definitely a turbine spawn. And looks like they're actually going to be in a good position now to grab the rockets. They can be respectful, making his way towards the turbine to make sure they grab those. Creeping around, we've got Talik behind him. We've got one player in front as well. That's going to be Nurex, goes one-on-one. Respectful wins out that battle. One player jumps up. That's going to be Chick. Look at how quick, though. Respectful moves left, right, back, forth. Picks up the OS as well. Unfortunately, just a second too late. He will die from the onslaught of grenades. Sticker comes around the corner. Will finish off Mose as well. You tell you what, they get a nice bit of time. It's ticking away, but Rocket's back in the hands of Riot. We now see the lads in control of the power-ups and the power weapons. He'll drop down, try and stay alive. Moving on the outskirts, does stay alive indeed, and gets those shields back. One goes down, the second player behind him pushed out a little bit too aggressively, but he stayed alive, and he's got the reload, hunting this one player down. Can he get the kill? Yes, he can. Doesn't really matter because he's done his job. He's got that player out. Fair enough, he's going to die. Probably should have pushed back and saved that final rocket. He has handed it pretty much rather easily to Nurex, but at least he managed to secure this bend. Yeah, securing blue bend there was very important there from Riot's, and you can see once again Lunny there securing the catwalk as well. Very key secures coming out of the lads. Fair enough, they're not scoring at the moment, but it looks like they're in a good position to grab red bend. You can, excuse me, red nest, and it looks like 2D here actually have kind of read that. They expected the lads to go over towards that red nest, and as a result they've rotated around through blue up to this catwalk right here. This is going to be a huge team fight in the catwalk. It looks like it's going to be Sika last alive. He needs to make sure he stays alive, and he does so as well for 2D's chance of taking this game and continuing this series. Looks like they're taking red nest as well. Yep, potentially going to get the double plot here. They need to be careful that one player moving around from Turbine. That's actually going to be Riot. Talik gives him the dirty, and there you see the dirty double comes into play. 4 dead as well. Massive stuff here from Divine as they move on. They're looking towards that blue bend. The players tagged it up at least, but they know they're going to be spawning over there, so they need to try and stay alive. One player going to be respectful, just hopping around, making sure he stays out of the line of sight here of Talik. Talik jumps up, bullets are coming across his face, needs to be aware and be very, very careful, which is exactly what he's doing. Yeah, he's staying alive. Staying alive very, very impressively, but it looks like he's going to be found out by Mose. 3 dead. One thing I want to say, though, I don't know whether it's 2D's kind of making of that kind of situation, but twice in a row now it's been
the lads who have gotten a very fortunate split spawn at Red Bend as well as at Blue, whether they're pushing those Blue players a little bit too aggressively and too early and blocking the spawns, allowing players or opening up other spawns at Red Bend and at Red. I'm not sure what the case is, but that's twice in a row now, around the time that the rockets are coming up, that those two split spawns have happened. So that's something for 2D to work on in the future, because it's allowed the lads back into the game. But as we're saying that, it's been a good period of possession of strongholds here for 2D, and if Mose does not get this Blue Bend, which he doesn't, 2D are going to continue control, and if they can push up here on the catwalk as well, the lads could be in trouble right here.
Well, can be expecting someone to like really throw the body at that one to make sure they got the secure, because also catwalk, oh they did. Now, in fact no they didn't, excuse me, they managed to get the nest, which is fair play, because at least they still keep 2 ticking away, but that would have been a triple cap. That pretty much could have put the nail in the coffin here. Still a minute sign of life. They are literally holding on by a thread. But, as I say that, it approaches 90 points on the clock. 2 players, though, from Divine 2D will push forward. They're not actually going to manage to capitalize on the catwalk. Talik's going to try and hold it back, but no one's in there. I believe as well it is indeed. Blue Bend has been captured. That's the nail in the coffin. That's going to be 4-0. Chick knows it as well. The time will tick down 100 points, and there you have it. Another 4-0 on day number 1, Harry.
Yeah, very impressive performance from the lads, actually. I mean, a lot of it was 2D's making, right? I mean, I spoke about it twice in a row when the Rockets and the Overshield were coming up. Those 2 split spawns for the lads. 2 of them spawned at Blue, 2 of them spawned at Red. It just allowed the lads to break the setup of control that 2D had just acquired at that moment in time. Respectful 18-8.
Someone needs to have a word with this kid and ask him if he can start playing as a team player, please, and not just be this YOLO solo.
One thing I love, though, about that series in particular, thanks players, by the way, for
Cheers for backing out.
Yeah, great. It's not like we want to see stats or anything, don't worry about it. But one thing I love about the stats that we saw out of that series, fair enough, maybe not against the best of opposition, but a lot of people were kind of wondering, are Respectful and Mose going to have the same amount of success as they did on Fabi on this roster? The fact that Brandon is still putting up those stats on this team, again, no disrespect to Riots and Lunny, but the fact he can still put up those stats no matter what the lineup he's on is very promising. And if he continues that throughout the season, this team is going to have a good time. And honestly, he could go down as one of the best, almost definitely the best in Halo 5.
Without question. So there you have it. In Europe. We always need to put that on.
Yes, it's a caveat.
We get a tweet from some NA player. Oi.
Oi.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Your move's a week.
Give me a second.
Okay, just wait there.
We've had it fly over to EU, get on a team and show you how it's done. Just imagine. The
thing is though, imagine Brandon on an NA roster. I think, you know, fair enough, I know it's not possible with all the travel and such, but I think he'd be able to play at that level. I genuinely do.
Well, there were a lot of people questioning EG's roster change, right? They picked up tapping buttons, which, as we've now known, has paid dividends. They look like a different team, and they look very, very impressive.
EG are top 4, Harry.
EG are top 4
What
right
a time
now.
to be alive.
What a time to be alive. But a lot of people were asking, hey, why tapping buttons? Why not Respectful? Respectful's kind of, you know, proven on the European stage that he's a cut above the rest. Why not take a chance on Respectful? Obviously, that roster move paid off, for EG, and like you said, they are now top 4. What a time to be alive. But again, you know, there were people asking, why not Respectful? And I honestly think he could do very, very well on an American team.
He's got the abilities, he's got the skills to pay the bills, that's for sure. More than likely be seeing him and this roster in Atlanta, but that's only 1 game. They've still got 4 matches to go. This is day number 1 of the summer 2017 European HCS Pro League. My name is Sims. This is Mr. Wonderboy, and it's a pleasure to be casting for you today. We have just seen 2 4-0 sweeps. With the lads. You need to just extend it a little bit longer.
Is that it? Yeah.
That's there it is. You can put your glasses on now. I have thrown them to the side. So.
Shame.
But we're
Your
going
wife's
to take
glasses.
Pardon?
Your wife's glasses.